Being in the no-use zone. Moments of light with Toro the Decoder. I called it being in the no-use zone, and from a worldly perspective, a time when I experienced a kind of freedom I was not used to. There was this saying, be of no use and use will come to you. And I was of use in a sense, being around distant family members I had not been around before and sharing my different way of experiencing life. I shared information about vital food preparation, playful fitness, and assisted with body reading and body work when someone was needed. I was so used to doing this, however, wherever I went, that I didn't even see this as being useful. To balance the feeling of not being of use, I helped doing the garden and other chores, tasks that were done by others when I would not be around. For 27 years I had experienced a kind of freedom in regards to not having to pay for rent, water and electricity, and being the supervisor of properties of wealthy friends. Cash I made with customers that came for body reading, treatments, fitness and vital food preparations. This was a freedom connected, not having to have a full-time job in order to make money, of which a big portion usually is used for rent and utilities. I had also experienced not having to be in the hustle and bustle of bringing and picking up my children from school, because they were homeschooled. In connection to this, I experienced as well the entire day in a more free way, as I was not bound to a schedule. Here I was in a foreign country, with foreign people and different customs, and not really attached to any of it, as nothing was yet conditioned through endless repetitions. I was single and divorced, not having obligations in regard to a partner, and my kids were okay and living their life. With a little savings in the bank, always making some cash through my services, because there's always people in pain or need, and living life being a minimizer and eating simple, I even didn't need to go on my savings. I was free regarding so many things when I made an inventory. Free from causing extra suffering in the world regarding animals by following a vegan diet. Free from needing a kitchen as I usually ate raw and just traveling with a hand-sized blender for making shakes. I was free of spending endless hours in the kitchen and ate only 2 meals a day. Not being dependent on exterior impulses, I kept the physical body fit as an obligation and a thank you with a variation of exercises, and I was free of the need owning fitness equipment or going to a gym. There was so much time available, no need to look at the clock, and the only real thing on my daily list was to sit for meditation, and mostly several hours writing the awareness that came forth from this, and experiencing a different life, which all helped me to be free of pointing, blaming and complaining, making myself and others into victims. It was now about accepting, reflecting, adapting and playing with everything and any challenging situation. I was free from thinking that I needed to prove something to others or the need of being approved by them. The only proof I was busy with on the inside was to scientifically experience and prove things to myself, the things connected to an evolution process, the experience what is to become a conscious human being, and an involution process that would lead to soul self-realization and God realization. I was free of any dogmatic and ritualistic practices connecting to having a faith and belief, and just putting the time in for this and using the meditation as much as possible during the day to override unnecessary thoughts, wishes, words and actions. I was free of destructive habits and addictions and no need for artificial stimulances or escaping by taking alcohol, nicotine and drugs. I was free not just about rent and utilities, but I had no mortgages or outstanding debts, had not the need for a car and walked and having the time to observe it all. I was free of all the false securities that we take on by listening to others and the endless advertisings about what you need to have and do in order to be happy. Free of fear connected to the future, as I had enough evidence looking back and trusting that things always work out. Free of wishes, desires, plans, and worldly directions, but open to anything that would come into my life, and knowing that I can deal with it. I was in the process to slowly getting used to all this freedom, but was not completely clear about it all and continued with making inventory. I was thus free of the have to, should, and must. And when there was something, I expressed it with I would like to, but having no expectations connected to it. I was free from external motivation and impulses to gain access to knowledge, learning and understanding things, or to be a good human being and to live with higher virtues, because all this came naturally from within. Forcing, pushing, indoctrinating, and manipulating anything from the outside was not needed, only accepting assistance from those who understood this. Most information I was writing about was about things I never had read and heard about or even thought of. All is within, and connected to this was the understanding that all experienced was just a reflection from within. I was free from authorities and only trying to follow my teacher and the teachings, which were autonomy, until the time I would be out of the way and the soul on its way home to merge with the source. I was free from judging others on their path and free that I needed to fit into a group and go on, for we all are individual and unique, and the real me is not from here. We all come without anything and depart without anything. There is already an automatic judgment connected to when we hear, see, taste, touch, and smell something, for it is all so programmed and conditioned, and for me no need to judge more. Free of my way of thinking and interpreting, as there are many, because there are no two humans conditioned and programmed alike, and also totally individual and unique on the level of DNA. As a fact, there is no need to compare or to compete. I was free from all the promises made by others, their methods, protocols, and formulas, all not having 100% guarantee. Trust was understood, to trust the duality in everything and everyone, and free of heart-breaking stuff. Free of seeking any security in the adventure of life, an adventure created with opposites, bound to time and constantly changing, in illusion, so to speak, and seeing me and living my life being in a fairy tale adventure, maturing in a vital, flexible, creative, and playful way. Free of the picture that getting older is about misery, restrictions, becoming stiff and stubborn, and all going along with pain, disease, and more suffering. I had to keep on making inventory in order to understand the strange position I found myself in, with so much freedom, and maybe others wished they had, but it was still not part of me. The mind was still thinking you need to do something, go somewhere, but where and why? My time sitting in meditation was my home, my base, and one day it would be the entire day of this experience, but in the meantime, I still had to deal with this new reality. More and more, I was becoming the observer, the tourist, the visitor, indifferent, not attached, with no what next. This was probably all connected to the first spirit or soul landing in the creation, and just experiencing the endless things to be experienced without associating or identifying. There was actually nothing missing. The exterior was becoming less attractive than the interior experience, and I was grateful and thankful for everything internal and external, But the realization of all this freedom was playing with me. Yes, on the inside I was okay and could come to terms with it all and giving it a place, but not 100% at ease or at peace. The inner, more peaceful reality which I described as a preview of eternal peace was slowly reflecting itself on the outside, and it was just a matter of time, and me letting the adventure further evolve and having patience, because it was still overwhelming. All these insights helped to make it more easier to be in this worldly no-use zone and realize that this body and mind and this life was used for a higher purpose. The Creator, the Divine God, Allah, or any name given to that which is from beyond form and name, beyond the realm of intellect, concepts and descriptions, was using it all to get the essence, the soul, the spirit, his real child back home again. Although all these awarenesses, connections and feelings were not as strong as in the past connected to me, the one I identified with in the mirror, they were still connections, associations and memory connections. Not only me needed to get out of the way, but every connection and every memory, and this was this feeling connected to being in the no-use zone.